With a population of over 200 million people, Nigeria's most significant asset is its youthful demography, as over 60% of the population is in the age bracket of 21 to 35 years. Transforming this demographic into productivity is crucial for the stability of Africa's most populous country. According to the Labour Market Survey report of the National Bureau of Statistics, the youth unemployment rate was 8.4% in the first quarter 2024, down from 8.6% in the third quarter 2023. Policy experts and businesses have described investment in the development of young entrepreneurs as crucial for Nigeria, as over 40 million nano, micro, small, and medium enterprises are key drivers to the employment in the country's gross domestic product. Hello and welcome to WebTV Focus program, where we discuss issues that affect the Nigerian household. I am Gabriel Jude. This edition will focus on the entrepreneurship in Nigeria from survival to scale. And to discuss this, I have Mr. Seye Olurotimi, founder of MSME Africa. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me on the program today.
And now to begin the conversation, there's a video we would like to watch, Nigerians speaking on the importance of entrepreneurship. And we'll be right back.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about encouraging young people into entrepreneurship?
Firstly, I would say that I remembered when I was in school then, when I graduated with my friends. So when I graduated, I looked for a job. I couldn't see any job. I submitted CVs. There wasn't anyone that called me. So I called my friend that, come, what can we do? What can we do? Because we can't just sit at home doing nothing. So I told one of my friends that, okay, I will go and learn hairdresser, at least for a while. So they agreed on that. So we went ahead to, learn hairdresser then. So as at then, when we learned it, we started using it to, people will call us, we go to their house, we make hair for them. So subsequently, we added makeup to it. So what I would say is that entrepreneurship is very, very important for our nowadays youth.
I feel entrepreneurship should not be centered to young people alone. It can be something that can be made generally for everyone. Even old people can actually engage into that. Those who have retired can also start entrepreneurship to help themselves. Entrepreneurship is a very important aspect of life. For me, I feel it is a necessity because it is something that will help you to grow, and it makes you become self-independent, self-employed. And not only that, entrepreneurship has also helped to build a lot of people, because most of the things we engage ourselves in entrepreneurship are the day-to-day life people need around, and which help to meet up the needs of people. And entrepreneurship is very, very vital. It's not only a source of income, it's also another access of building yourself as a person. It's also another way of meeting up the needs of others. For me, I feel entrepreneurship is a very vital thing that everybody should engage on, not centered on youth alone.
Entrepreneurship is something that everyone should involve in, be it a youth or an elderly youth, because we are all youths in one stage or the other. So I feel entrepreneurship is something we should all engage in. And not just engaging in entrepreneurship, because sometimes we go into entrepreneurship and some people come out of it not knowing what they have done. So for me, basically, whatever you're going into, be it business or whatever, have passion for it, because at the end of the day, it is what brings you out. Yeah. So when you have passion for whatever you do, you love what you're doing, and you do it without stress, not knowing when you start succeeding in it.
Entrepreneurship is something that is being embraced by most developed countries of the world. And the way the world is going now, the issue of certificates and paper qualification is not enough for one to make a living. So there is need for a serious attention to be given to entrepreneurship. It could be in various areas. I'm into agriculture. I read fisheries from the first degree to PhD. People can be encouraged to come into that area, you know, come into fish farming, aquaculture. It's a way, and it's a good way to sustain one, even after your university or higher education program. You see, if we have people in entrepreneurship, the issue of unemployment will be seriously reduced. You know, if they are encouraged, you know, after the training, there are, you know, incentives that will encourage them, because that's another thing. You acquire a skill, you don't have the means to develop what you have acquired, then the knowledge remains there with you. It is not being put into practice. It is not utilized as expected. There's no positive response from what you have learned in terms of income, you know, to make a living.
As a student, it's good to be an entrepreneur. At least you have to have a little things that you are doing. As I am like this, I'm into so many business. I sell jewelries, I sell perf, I'm into apps, and then I do an design too. But that one is handwork.
If you want us to move forward in this country, everybody cannot depend on government for employment. So we need to create job, and by creating job, we need to, you know, go into entrepreneurship. And from there, if you establish a business today, tomorrow the business begin to yield, begin to grow. You bring in people that will help you work on it. By then you're employing people, reducing unemployment in Nigeria. So that's the way we can go. We can't, if graduates need to, you know, re-strategize, stop waiting for government for job. Go and create job. And from creating job for yourself, you also employ others.
So if there are facilities, loan facilities, incentives that could assist people or young graduates, even if agriculture is not your field, you know, the issue of food security now is an issue all over the world. Yeah, so if we have people that can come in, you know, and they are being encouraged after the training to get incentives for their training, it will be a push for us, and it will be a plus for us as a country. I know definitely there are some universities now, they have these entrepreneurship programs that they make their undergraduates, you know, pass through while in the school. Shoemaking, bag making, adire, and all that, so that by the time they are out of school, they won't be looking for jobs.
There are lots of businesses that in Nigeria that is very, very viable, and some people don't even pay attention to it. Those selling groundnut, those selling corn is entrepreneurship. If they can just empower them more, maybe in terms of their record keeping, in terms of sales, marketing, it needs to be more attractive to the youth. Because when you tell a youth, come and sell pepper, they are wondering, how will you start to sell pepper? But when we talk about packaging, and there are lots of government institutions that talk about packaging, incubation, production, marketing that we use don't pay attention to. Even when in Agege that I'm coming from, there's a company teaching on how to make and package yogurts. But because they have not seen how people have done it, and people are not telling their stories, if more entrepreneurs can talk about their stories, they'll talk about even the downtime, not just the social media hype of how we're just seeing people buying 10 billion car, 50 billion car. Let entrepreneurs come and tell their stories. When they tell their story, the young will say, yes, I relate with this. Oh, this was how they started. Even those doing job will realize that there is power in entrepreneurship. And apart from saying entrepreneurship itself, there's something we call entrepreneurial mindsets. In whatever we do, we have to be entrepreneurial, meaning that we're not just doing it for now, we are doing it for sustainability. Even in Nigerian economy, when you want to recruit people, people are no more doing vocational skills. You see people before now, they are learning one craft, mechanic, they're learning plumbing, but right now they are not learning it. Fine, you know, a government still has to do a lot in terms of enabling people, but right now they are doing a lot. Even right now, I'm going to WAPA because I work with government and I have information about all these things, and they are there. No, people don't know that they are there. Ministry of Women Affairs are empowering people. Youth and social development, they are empowering people, especially on this same issue of entrepreneurship. If you go into the Ministry of Youth and Social Development, there is an entrepreneurship desk that people are not paying attention to empower youth. There is Latif Jakonde on leadership and entrepreneurship, empowering people daily. So that's why sometimes I just take my time to just enlighten people, let them know that when you talk about entrepreneurship, I have friends that are packaging pomo. exporting. Even what's it called, charcoal. There's business in charcoal, packaging it. There's business in what's it called, ewedu, dried, packaged, and sold. And everything about life is value. If you have value to offer people, they will pay you. I'm telling you. So that's it. Entrepreneurship is everything.
Right, Mr. Olurotimi, founder MSME. I think first and foremost, from what you heard, somebody said we need to hear their stories. So maybe in the course of the discussion, you tell us your story as a founder as well, and then to react to that video particularly, I would like to ask you first and foremost on one question that looks like a general assertion. So do you think we as a nation have done enough to provide enabling environment for Nigerians at the market space?
No, I don't think we have done enough as a nation. I think there is still a lot of ground to be covered. I still believe that we need to provide an enabling environment where entrepreneurs can thrive and grow. For instance, we know that we have about 40 million MSMEs in Nigeria today. 39.6 as at about 3 years ago, 39.6 million. That's about 1/6 of our population, contributing close to 50% to our GDP and are responsible for about 80% of employment in the country. But the question is this: we have this large number. Just imagine that these guys are enabled to employ 2 to 3 people. We won't have unemployment in Nigeria practically, right? And imagine that these businesses are not just in numbers. We are not just talking quantity, we are talking quality. So I think we have the entrepreneurial zeal in Nigerians, but enabling them to become the best of what they can be is still lacking. And I think government and other players in the ecosystem can treat it a lot better in encouraging entrepreneurship and enabling entrepreneurship to thrive and grow in the country.
I think we'll buttress on that point, but then let's look at entrepreneurship as a whole. So I want you to lead us through the concept of entrepreneurship and also the impact it has played on the national economic development.
Okay, so basically entrepreneurship is about creating value. It's about seeing a problem, solving that problem, creating value, and of course, now selling that value profitably. So at the other side of entrepreneurship is value, right? So there are 4 components. Basically, you talk about the problem you're solving, the value you're creating, you talk about the risk that you overcome, then you now talk about profit at the other end of entrepreneurship. Basically, that's what entrepreneurship is all about. You identify problems and you solve them profitably to make money and to also grow the economy. When it comes to what it is doing in an economy, every economy that I want to point to, if you go to every clime that will say they are doing well, you will see that they are being driven by entrepreneurship. There is no way you want to run away from entrepreneurship. As at today in Nigeria, we say they contribute close to 50% to our GDP. In other climes, they do more than that. Because what it means is that if 41 million people, or 41 million entrepreneurs, let's say they employ an average of 4 people, that's about 200 million people engaged, meaning that unemployment will probably be like 0. And in Nigeria, where we have a very young population, about 60% of our population are young people. They have the energy, they have the zeal, they have the drive. But being able to have that environment that enables them to practice their skills and develop it to the point where they can actually do it profitably and benefit the economy is what is still lacking. And so entrepreneurship is what any nation should not play with. It's something that can take us out of the unpleasant economic headwinds and situations that we are in. And it's something that everybody should embrace as a nation.
Okay, let me take you through an initiative from this present administration of Nigerian government. So we have seen that, of which you are aware, that the African Development Bank approved $100 million funds for investment to establish the Nigerian Youth Entrepreneurship Investment Bank.
Yes.
So the president also supported that as well. Now, the aim is to provide financial and non-financial support to young entrepreneurs to boost entrepreneurship and enterprise development, offer technical assistance, business incubation. Rightly, somebody mentioned that in the video we watched, various financing options like equity and debt. How effective and efficient will this be?
Okay, so I think this is one of the biggest and the most pleasant news I've heard in recent time. The fact that that fund has now been approved and we're going to have that Youth Entrepreneurship Investment Bank in Nigeria is something that has been promised for some time, but finally we're going to have it. And what that is going to do is to turn around the game when it comes to funding and financing businesses, especially for youth. So the traditional banks are not actually made to finance startups. So, I mean, you hardly ever hear that the known startups have gone to commercial banks to get loan debt. They won't. They would go to venture capitalists to get equity funding. So what this bank is doing is that we're saying that we understand the space, we understand the peculiarity of the kind of funding that the startups and the youth entrepreneurs will need and want to provide it for them. So the typical commercial bank provides more of debt funding. You take a loan of 50 million, you pay over 3 years or 4 years or 5 years with interest. Right. But these guys are saying that we can even do equity. We can invest in your business and say, don't pay back, but we just want to get a part of the company. And nothing can be more pleasant than that. And we're not just doing that. We're going to provide incubation, which means that you can come with your ideas, we'll help you fine tune it and get it to the market for you. They will also do acceleration for some of these businesses, which means that you're not just getting funding, you are getting knowledge of how to run the business. We are providing an enabling environment for you. We would also accelerate your business for you. We would provide everything that you need because you understand the space when it comes to youth business, when it comes to startups. And that's what this bank is meant to do. And I really am so positive. I'm looking forward to that. And I believe that at the point of implementation, we would not get anything wrong because that's actually a very important part of it.
When is it going to be implemented?
So I think as at the last time I saw, it should happen in September this year.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the news, and I'm hoping that would happen. So by September, we should have it. I mean, it should start, and then the youth should start getting funding from the bank. I like the fact that it is not debt funding only. It's debt, is equity, is a mix of all sort of funding. And I think there's even a grant part of it, which means that these guys are not getting funded, and somebody is saying next one you have to start paying back, because that's a major problem. You can't get debt funding from a commercial bank to run a startup. It doesn't work because you need some time to stabilize. You need some time to take your solution to the market.
You also need collateral.
So you need, they will ask for collateral. But these guys understand that you might not have the collateral. And so all those 5 C's of funding, collateral, character, and what have you. So some of those things, they will tailor it to the peculiarity of these businesses. And that's why I'm really excited about it.
So a lot of times implementation of policies in Nigeria is not the problem. But the activities, the participation around it, the drive and the benefit. I want you to give us a view of how is going to be in terms of accessing this fund, so that we will not see the case of nail fund that some people were complaining that they don't even know how the fund was disbursed, how they can even get the funds.
So everything is still, maybe we can still all put them in the bucket of implementation, right? So the idea is this: we understand your business. So when you're coming, you're not just coming with, I want to apply for a loan. Of course, you come with your pitch deck that tells us what your business is doing. We also will have experts at the bank side of business who understand the startup space, who understand youth entrepreneurship, who understand the peculiarity. So you're not just coming to say, give me money. We are interested in your business. So they will pay more attention to your business than the fact that you want to get the money. They will pay attention to your team. Who are the people on your team? What is your traction? Do you have an MVP, a minimum viable product or not? So I see this whole thing as something that we've been waiting for, something that is actually going to address the problem, because it's not a case of, I have a good proposal to get a loan. It's a case of, we want to look into your business. We even want to get equity, such that we are part and parcel of your day-to-day running of the business. So if you want to just collect the money and jackpot, that might not be for you. Because you have people who are going to be vested in the business.
So are we going to have a structure bank, like a structure that you come there and you fill a form, you take your
so
funds?
the whole framework is not out now, but what I envisage is that you will probably have to send in like your pitch deck, you have to send in document about your business, and then they will assess it and they will start talking to you. You know, the traditional bank is that I need a loan. They look at your, maybe what you've been doing on your account, and they say, based on your volume, we can give you so loan. Of course, they also look at your business. But this one, they will do more in-depth evaluation of what you're doing. And they will also let you know that we're not just interested in you taking the loan and going away. We will be part and parcel of the way the business is going. We'll monitor your journey with you. And that's how I envisage it's going to be.
I hope that the process will be seamless and smooth.
I hope so too.
When people began to send their schedules and their proposals for the funding.
Let's be very optimistic that it's going to be very smooth. Of course, but we know we have a large population of people that are
exactly. So that's always the problem.
And so I would just advise people that you need to put your best foot forward, knowing that you are not the only one looking forward to this fund.
Okay.
So probably when you send in your own document, you have 1,000,001 other businesses doing that. So how can you stand out? Maybe that's what we should be talking about. You need to put your best foot forward. You need to show that you have traction. Or when it's just an idea, you need to show that this idea is marketable and I'm doing a lot of work and my team is actually able to execute on this idea. That's what investors will put their money in. Investors don't put their money just because they like your face or you sound good, but they want to be sure that this thing would make, because if they invest in your business and its equity, it means that if the company goes down, the money is lost. Nobody wants to do that. So they would actually look at your business very, very well before they can give you the loan or the equity funding.
Thank you so much for that enlightenment. So let's look at statistics now. From Fed Institute report, looking at the size of businesses, nano and micro business accounted for 44.5%. We also have 35.5% of total businesses, a collective share of 80%.
That's right? Micro and nano.
That's micro and nano. So I want to ask, right? So how can nano and micro businesses be encouraged to scale up to a broader impact with enterprise clusters like MSME?
It means that between the micro and the nano guys, we have about over 80% of the MSME bracket. That's what it means. And when you talk about the nano enterprises, there are people that are doing between 0 and 5 million naira in turnover per annum, or they employ between 1 to 3 people. And the micro guys employ between 3 to 10, and they are doing less than 25 million per annum in turnover, which means that about 80% of these micro, small, and medium enterprises, they are actually in the micro and nano bracket. But a lot of time when we design interventions, we are focusing on the small and medium enterprises. But these guys are the bulk of it. And you know one very interesting thing, they are mostly in the informal sector. They are mostly the artisans, the ones that we don't pay attention to. Or the ones where we design interventions, we call them out of it. So you are saying you must have your maybe 2 years bank statement, you must have tax clearance, you must have this. Where does an artisan get all of that?
Is a granola seller a nano?
Yes, they are nano because, I mean, if you're doing less than 5 million naira in turnover, you are nano. If you're doing less than 25 million, you are micro. So those guys, now it means that we need to pay more attention to them that we are paying to the small and the medium guys. Because they are the ones that will graduate to the small and the medium enterprises. But if we don't allow them to grow, they will die at that stage. So what they need is more of intervention that are specific towards them. We need to understand that they might not have all those documents and all those requirements we're asking for. So we need to learn to cut them some slacks. We need to allow them to come into clusters like MSME Africa, where they can have access to capacity building. They have access to enterprise development training. They have access to entrepreneurship education. They have access to loan also. They have access to a large network of other entrepreneurs where they can learn. They have access to opportunities on a day-to-day basis. And that's one of the things MSME Africa does. Provide them access to opportunities like grants, like all sorts of funding, like accelerators and incubators. These guys need to be given the wings to fly because they are very important and are the major bulk of the MSME bucket, right? So we need to particularly pay attention and understand that they are not formal. Most of the things, most of the grammar that we speak, they don't understand.
Right.
But they are contributing immensely to the economy. So we need to look at them from that lens and design interventions that can help them, especially in clusters, right? Where they can actually have, they can benefit from other people in the clusters and they can grow alongside those other people too.
I'm really interested in groundnut sellers because I love groundnut. And you see that a Jeep parked and is buying groundnut. So I think more intervention, funding, and networking will go a long way. So as we wrap up, I think this is the right time you're going to tell us a short story about MSME.
MSME Africa.
Exactly. So, and then linking to showing us and telling us who are the key players to drive this, especially at this time, and your concluding thoughts to how we can move away from survival to scale.
Okay, so MSME Africa started during COVID. So sometimes the best of businesses are born during adversity. So it was a time when there was lockdown, there was nothing practically for me to do. And I said, okay, I'd always love to impact entrepreneurs. Let me start a platform where they can get access to opportunities and some other things. And that's how I started during COVID.
How did you start?
I just started with a news website where we're publishing opportunities that are available to them because I knew they needed opportunities. They needed to know about government subsidies and interventions that were designed for them. And we got a lot of reaction. People were just visiting the site and were like, this looks like something that would actually impact people. And we said, okay, let's even go beyond just providing access to information. Let's do capacity building. Let's start partnering with development partners and other organizations. And people were coming, they were showing interest to say they wanted to partner with us. And that's how we have grown from that time till now. And so it means that the seed of entrepreneurship may be very small at the beginning, but the way it grows, you might even be surprised when you have the right environment and you have the right kind of support for it. And that's it. It's just always about enabling entrepreneurs, providing access to information, access to opportunities, and capacity building for them. And that's what we're doing, and that's where we have today. And I would say, thankfully, too, WebTV was part of our journey where we started. I remember our very first webinar, I had to reach out to say we needed publicity, and they helped us. And after then, I was invited.
Business.
I was invited to come and talk about the webinar that we did, and since then we've been growing.
We're still in the business. We can do more.
I know.
We can do more. All right.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
I also want to talk about the various people that would drive this initiative. So I think everybody in the MSME ecosystem or the entrepreneurial ecosystem should actually, they have roles to play in this. The government, the enterprise support organizations like MSME Africa, like Faith Foundation, like EDC, the entrepreneurs themselves, development partners, and private organizations. Everybody has a part to play in all of this. Government has to provide an enabling environment, ensure that the policy environment is good. And that's why I'm looking forward to the tax reform bills. We're waiting for the president, I said, because that will actually help a lot of businesses to grow better. And then it means that even if you are doing less than 50 million naira now, you will not be paying company income tax. They are moving it from 25 million to 50 million. Those are the kind of policies we want to see. So that's for government. Development partners, they need to also help us. When we have those programs we're developing, when we want to scale the impact, they should come in and provide funding, provide grants. Private organizations should come in the area of grant sponsorship as part of their CSR activities. And of course, the entrepreneurs themselves, they need to get more knowledge of running a business. You can't run a business just anyhow. No, don't. Go and get the skill. Learn how to run a business, apart from the technical skill you have. Together, if all of us do all of these things together, we'll have a better and brighter entrepreneurship space where we're doing better, the GDP is growing, and the country will be better for it.
How about the knowledge campaign?
Yeah, knowledge campaign, it's something that we should do, but of course, it's more of what enterprise support organizations and of course the government should do. We need to drive the knowledge campaign so that people can actually be aware of the things that are available and how to take advantage of them. So, and each and everyone who has access to those information about the knowledge too, they should also share them. Nobody should hoard it.
Right, that's a wonderful conversation. But in 1 minute, somebody who is watching right now may be thinking, how do I start this thing? Just like you talk about how you started, but then in a practical way, how do I start this? I don't know how to go about it. What would
So
you say?
I would just say, so two things. Don't wait till you have a perfect idea, and don't also jump into the market when you don't have a plan. So even the idea is small, write it down. Just tell yourself, this is what the idea, this is what I intend to go, maybe in 10, 5 years, but what can I start now? A lot of people are waiting for that huge capital. They are waiting for that very, very enabling environment to start. And by the time you're waiting, some other people implement the idea and you think they've copied your idea. So start from where you are and start scaling, right? It's not a crime for you to be small, but it becomes a crime for you to remain small. So start from where you are and then just watch it grow.
Thank you so much, Mr. Seye Olurotimi, founder, MSME
Thank
Africa.
you for having me on the program.
Right. And now to you, our esteemed viewers, this is where we draw the curtain for the discussion today. If you want to get more knowledge on finance, the market, banking, the economy, and investing, please visit the ProShare website, WebTV YouTube, and follow our social media platform display on the screen. We'll also appreciate your feedback and comments on the program. Thank you for watching. I am Gabriel Jude signing out, and have a great day.